Hi there, and welcome to episode 3 of the Flying Yak podcast. Today is Friday, May 13th, 2016. I'm your host, Chantal Billet. You can find me on Instagram at @the_flying_yak. This week, I will be talking mostly about whips. Yeah, I just have whips. I've gotten a bunch of sweater knitting done that I'm super excited to show you all. And I've had a cast on week, not a bind off week. Those seem to be really frequent for me. So we're going to start off quickly with some whips. The first yellow cardigan of 2 is going along smoothly. So as some of you may remember last week, I said I would finish the body on both my yellow cardigans this week, and I did manage that. I finished the body on this one Wednesday, and I'm very pleased. So we have a little stitch marker with a little yak there. Oh, camera, there we go. That shows you where I was last week. So I just been about to separate for the arms, and now I've finished all this cable work and 5 inches of ribbing, and it finishes with this this beautiful tubular bind off. It was my first time using a tubular bind off. So what you do is for the last 2 rows, you only knit your knit row. So you'll knit one and then slip the next one, and then knit one and slip the purl stitch. And you do that over 2 rows. And then you do a Kitchener stitch. So it's a sewn bind off. And I really like this look. There isn't really an edge. It just is very, very smooth. I'd never done one. This, I forgot to say, I'm very new to this. This is the Portage sweater by Melissa Schaschwary. Schachwary. So Melissa. It's out of the Chamomile color of Madeline Tosh DK. It is knit in the top down, and so far I'm absolutely enjoying this. It's such a nice mix of just, this color is true pretty much. It's a little lighter. It's a little more eggy on the camera. In real life, it's a lot yellower. Is it focusing on me or the yarn? Definitely me. But yeah, I finished the body. Very pleased. All this cabling was not as much of a pain as I would have expected. I did not, not as much of a pain. It just took me a week. So I did not alternate skeins, as everyone should when they're doing hand-dyed projects like with Madeline Tosh. Because this is such a lightly variegated yarn, I thought I might be able to get away with it, and you can't really see it, though now I can see on camera that like this area here is a little darker, if I'm not mistaken. You can see right under the armpits there's some darker splotches in this area, but honestly I don't really mind. It doesn't show as much in the front. It's just regular variegating, so I don't mind. And so now what I've done is I've picked up all the stitches along in this giant U, and now I'm working just garter stitch. So I've gotten the first 14 rows of garter stitch done, so about 1.5 inches. I'll show it on the right side. So it's a really clean edge just between the garter stitch and the knit. I think I picked up 3 out of 4 stitches on 3.75 millimeter needles. For the main body I used 4.5 millimeter, and I like it. It's nice. When I pick up stitches, most people, you'll see here I switched on the ribbing versus on the body. So on the ribbing I just picked up, this is the pickup edge here, and I just picked up a half stitch. So just going, this is, ooh, can't do this backwards. Okay, this is the knit column here. You can see it's like half gone. So I just go in half the stitch because I didn't want it to be purl to just be the purl into the garter. But on the actual body of the sweater, you can see that there's a lot more fabric that's gotten folded over because I go into like past 2 bumps, and I find it gives you a much cleaner edge, and the seams just add a lot of structure. I find it feels like seams. Seams add structure. So I like it that way, not from ribbing, but from a nice stocking net. So I have to do 6 inches of this garter. So I was really looking forward to this garter, and then I knit about 10 rows of it and needed a tiny break. It's a lot of stitches. I haven't counted. I'd say it's about 250 stitches around. But just because I know it's the entire length of the sweater twice, it feels like a lot. Oh, can you see it all? There you go. And the cabling looks much better from the back on the right side. But yeah, I just need to finish the garter and the sleeves. But the garter has this fun bit where once you finish, you just take the stitches from about here to here. You keep knitting back and forth short rows. You just knit it flat, and you make like a dip, and then you fold it over to make pockets, which I'm very excited for. So I was kind of finicky with the pickup edge here, but it doesn't really matter because it'll be hidden in a pocket like that. So I'm really fine with it. Hopefully I'm gonna attempt to finish at least the garter stitch edge this week. I'd like to have a finished sweater very soon. It's gonna be my summer sweater. People who live in Iceland need summer sweaters. I love summer because I have all these hand knit things, and usually I have to hide them under a jacket, but in summer I get to show off my sweater. So really sweater season is summer for me. Yeah, it never gets more than 20 here, so, and that's like high noon, it's 20. In the morning it's still probably 10, 15, so it's perfect for a DK weight sweater. It's not always like Icelandic traditional sweater weather, but it can be, it really can. So this is my first work in progress. Once again, it's the Portage sweater by Melissa Schaschwary. I'm really sorry. It's just in my like North American roots that I have to be incapable of figuring out how to say other people's names. Funny story. My boyfriend's Icelandic and I'm French Canadian. So he is called Kjartan Valur Kjartansson. And for the first about year of us dating, neither of us said the other's name. We just kind of thought it would be embarrassing to not be able to say the name of your significant other, so we just call each other sweetie for about a year. And now we're approaching on the 3-year mark, and I doubt if he's said my name 5 times. When addressing me. When addressing other people, I won't be just like, oh, my sweetheart is gonna come out to dinner with me. I'll usually say Chantal. But there was this weird thing where we just avoided saying each other's names. Which is international. International. I did wind some of the skeins. I'm very proud. I added my 10 skeins I wanted to add to the wall. I did add more along this edge. It's very large. I'm hoping to fill it. It's just the winding that's taking a bit of time. I did keep one skein unwound so you could see it in the skein. Oop, upside down. Madeline Tosh. Absolutely gorgeous. And then it's Chamomile is the colorway. I wrote Chamomile. Oh, no, it's with one L. I was just double checking that I'd spelled it correctly in my show notes. It says machine wash on the tag. I don't think I will ever machine wash this sweater. But I know superwash is like a big deal. It's super exciting, but I don't machine wash my sweaters ever. There's way too much work in there to just. But I don't wash them that often. I'll usually just throw it in the sink and then reblock. And by reblock, I mean throw it on my bed. So second yellow cardigan, that first one took a while, but I'm super obsessed with it right now. It's such a nice mix of a good yarn with a good pattern and just interesting enough and not too much busy, but like just shows off the yarn so well that I'm very pleased with it. I feel like I'll be knitting a lot of cables. But this is my second yellow cardigan, and that I'm knitting out of Hayloft from Brooklyn Tweed. Yes, Hayloft colorway shelter yarn from Brooklyn Tweed, which is this American-made yarn. That's my hair, not cheap hair. There we go. Yep, it's showing up a lot nicer this week than it did last week. There's these beautiful yellow, orange, and like green speckles in it. I really love this yarn. I'll show you the sweater. I did finish the body for this one. It did not take nearly as long. I finished it in about a day. It's just a day's knitting. This is where the lace is. So you'll see there were 2 and a bit owl faces. On the sample, like the picture shown for this sweater, there are 7 along the back, and I think I'll fit 4 or 5 just because I'm knitting it out of such a bulkier yarn. I did swatch. The pattern calls for a worsted or a light worsted, probably a DK, full disclosure, no idea. I just swatched and punched in my numbers. I could have done more math, but it's okay. I want it to be a looser sweater, so I'm fine. This is to the armpit. It has about 10 inches of ribbing, which were just a breeze. They flew off. Oh, this is the Owl Cardigan by Mari Chiba from the Interweave's Harry Potter collection. I don't have it sitting around, but absolute joy. I love knitting with Brooklyn Tweed. I knit it at a much looser gauge than probably is necessary. It's very, very open. Wait, is there white somewhere? Let's put it over my hair. There, you can see how open it is. Very open weave. I'm not stretching it that much. I'm just laying it flat, and you can really see through it. So I don't want a bulletproof, especially out of such a bulky yarn. I know it's a Aran weight, worsted Aran, but I'm really enjoying this little owl. This way, backwards camera. These little owl faces are adorable. So I'm hoping to, I needed to work on some sleeves for that. Yeah, I'll work up some sleeves, and I want to have full sleeves done. I'm trying to decide if this was the depth that it gave in the pattern for how long the sweater should be. And because it's so bulky, I'm thinking of adding maybe another 2 or 3 inches just to compensate for the size, because I feel like if it lands right at my belt, which it currently does, like from my armpits, it currently lands at my belt. And I know it'll lay a little bit underneath, but if it's so bulky, I might like it to end like right under my butt, so I might even add like 6 inches, but then I already did bust shaping up here. I don't want to take out, there's short row shaping. Where's the short row shaping? Here's the short row shaping. So yeah, you can kind of tell that I did a bust dart. You can see how it slopes downwards to here from here. So I already did bust shaping. I could take out the short row shaping and just not put any bust shaping at all because of how big it'll be. But that's a decision I should have made before I kept knitting it. But I really just wanted to finish the body because I said I would. I might leave it short. We'll see. It'll be a decision to make. I'm really enjoying it. I don't even know if I'll block it. I might just leave it flat. These holes are so large that they're really showing off all these big holes. They're really showing off the lace pattern. I'm knitting this on 5.5mm, just regular Addies. I don't have that many. Don't get me wrong, I have a bunch of needles, but I don't have that much variance in the needles that I have just because of what's available to me locally. I have, at the yarn store where I work, we only sell Addies and Prims. I don't like Prims at all. I hate the join on them, and the cable is really floppy, so I don't really use them. I'm okay with the Addies. They're not very pointy. Yeah, they're quite dull, but they're very consistent in the tapering, so there's not like a change in the angle, it's just straight, which I enjoy. And the join is very clean also. It looks like there's a join that would bother you, but it's never a problem. This is what's available to me at work, and then we also have Knit Picks or Knitter's Pride, which is what's on my other sweater, which I use pretty consistently. I have probably 3 whole sets at this point. I just keep buying them. They end up in my house, and I don't know. I should have just bought one set, but I need all the needles I can get. That was me dropping it on the floor so I can pick up my next whip. What's the next whip? I cast on I did some yarn shopping this week. I was gonna work on Thursday. I was gonna work, Thursday being yesterday. I was gonna work on the pre-strap, the garter section on my first cardigan, the Portage. But then I picked up the cardigan in a hurry and threw it in my purse or my knitting bag, and then I forgot to grab a new skein of yarn. So on my way to work, I decided to stop by the other yarn store to have something to do if I had downtime at work. And magically, I did. So I always have a few, like, closing time, there's always dead time, so I got this. I got 4 skeins actually, but these are the 3 skeins in the first color, which is the Cream Pima. It's a cotton yarn. Yeah, it's just a cream, a really warm cream color. It's so soft. It's from Pakucho. It's a yarn company I'd never heard of. It was really affordable, but look at all these certifications. It's super, it looks like it does stuff. Like it's eco-friendly and organic, and I should like it. And like there's a little description on the back. If you want, you can pause the video and read it. But it's really interesting because how they don't dye it. And I got an extra. So these are the 2 colors. This is coming out a little more gray than it is. It's actually a little green. It's a light green. But I'm loving it. It's super soft. It's the soft, I kind of picked it because it was the softest cotton there at work. Not at work, at the yarn store. It was rather, like, I don't know how cotton is priced. I only knit with wool. I'm not really an alpaca knitter. I'll knit with 10% nylon content, but I am a huge wool knitter. Like, all of this is wool, except this one's embroidery floss, but no, everything behind me is wool. Yes, consistently wool. So, oh, it's this side. This one's silk. It's weird because I can see it, so, but, no, I only knit with wool. I really enjoy the way wool works and the way wool is so forgiving. Like I hear people talking about knitting with linen all the time. I have never knit with linen, but, yeah, having to be so precise and perfect, like, I have very even stitches. It's the thing I pride myself on. I've knit for long enough to have perfectly even stitches, but I don't see the necessity to stress that out. I never measure. I don't swatch enough to merit using non-wool products. But I decided, Kathleen and I are making plans to go on a nice trip. We're going to Marrakesh for a week, and I really wanted to wear my yellow cardigan, and then I realized that it would be 30 degrees Celsius. So I cast on a cotton tank top. I'm going to show you what I have so far. I just cast it on yesterday, and I've been still only working on the yellow tank top. But, ta-da! Can't really see anything. There we go. It is the Slope. It's just called Slope. By Shellie Anderson. Thank you for having a very pronounceable name, Shellie. And it's curling a little, but this is what it is. It says and like that. Look at those even stitches. What did I tell you? So these are my short rows. It increases along the bottom, towards the top, whoop, towards the front. So from the back to the front, it does like whoop. So it's a little longer. It just like kind of covers your butt. It's very simple. It's knit in one color, but at the yarn store they only had 1 skein of this, and I fell in love with it, so I needed to buy just a little contrasting color. I think they're different enough to show, but not too different for it to like make a weird line on my hips that make me look a little wider. It might draw attention to my hips, but I really like this color. And so it's just a simple tank top with a slope. It's from Shibui. I think in the pattern they do it with the cotton wool blend with silk content, something that sounds ridiculously expensive and beautiful. I don't have a shibui readily available to me, and when I'm in cast on mode, I just kind of run to the nearest yarn store and drop a lot of dollars. I know yarn here is really expensive. Like, anything that isn't Istex lopi yarn, it's just ridiculously expensive. So I kind of just buy it in the boatload. Yeah. So yeah, it's just sloped increases. That's the only shaping. It's an A-line. So there's an itty bit of shaping going up. That's as far as I've gotten in the pattern. I read the first paragraph and a half and I was like, okay, I got this. No worries. I'll figure it out. I'll read it eventually. This yarn is, okay, 2 things that are super interesting about this yarn that, okay, probably like 6 things that are really interesting about this yarn that made me buy it. Firstly, it's not dyed to get the different colors. They have a bunch of different colors. They have a light purple, which they didn't have in stock. I just saw it online. They have this green. They have the cream color I was showing you, this one. And then they had a light brown and a darker, like, which they called chocolate brown, but it was like camel. And they do it by hand sorting all the cotton that comes off the plant, because apparently it comes in different colors. And usually what people do is they just bleach the crap out of it and dye it the neutral that it comes off the plant as. But this one, they just kind of sort it by color it comes off the plant. So, you know, like, I'm gonna give an example that I'm not sure makes sense. Like corn, like you get the different seeds that all taste the same, that all look the same, but they might be a little different color. What they would do is just like try and uniform everything usually, but this is just like, let's celebrate the color and just try and divide it as much as possible by color. I don't know if corn's the best example, but that's the first plant that came to mind that comes in kind of different colors. I'm thinking like Indian corn, like popcorn corn. But like flowers come in different colors, and they just kind of, instead of trying to like flatten it out, they're kind of trying to make it exciting. So I'm pretty excited about that. I know cotton is one of the most polluting crops, so I'm not a big fan of that. But this one says it's, look at all these certifications. This can't be bad for the earth. I mean, like, it totally can, but I'm gonna pretend it's not. I didn't do something wrong. It's so soft. Also, another thing that's really interesting about it is the ply structure of it. Let's go to the end. I already split it just because I was looking at it. Sorry, my nails are really dirty. I'm just a person who's dirty. So as you can see, it's 2 plies of 2 plies. And I don't know how to describe this because I've never spun cotton. I am not a cotton spinner. I'm a wool spinner. It feels like it's woolen spun. Like they're, okay, let's see how close up we can get. Okay, no, my camera's not that good. But do I have something black? Okay, let's put it up against this bag of Doritos. Yeah, you can see kind of almost that there are little hairs coming off of it. Little itty bitty hairs. Cotton's a super fine fiber. But there are, so it's like a woolen spun cotton. If you look at a lot of times that, what you see for like doily knitting and stuff like that, it's very smooth and you can see all the twists and it's very highly spun or very highly plied. I don't know if it's spun, but the twist is almost horizontal, the lines. But this one, it's very, like, there's not that much twist for a cotton anyways. I have what's called a charka. I might show it to you guys at some point. It's right over there. I'll show it later. But it's this spinning wheel that comes in a box, invented by Gandhi, supposedly. But what you do is, it's a hand spinning, so on this hand, it's made for spinning cotton. This hand, which is my left hand, whoop, you'll draft, long draw, and this hand you spin, and the circle that you spin is about nay big, like this. Every time you go around, it spins a cotton thread that's attached to a spindle on the end, and you draft off the spindle point, so it's like one of those pointy spindles, like in Sleeping Beauty. And you draft off of that, and for every crank, you get between 80 spins, something like that. It's ridiculous. It's like the highest speed whirl on a normal spinning wheel is usually around 26-to-1 ratio. So this is insane. So cotton needs a really high twist to stay together because the fiber staple is like, nay much. A lot of, I don't know that this is 100% true, but it's kind of like one of those grammar rules that you can kind of apply until you figure it out. So a lot of soft fibers have a short staple length. Statement. I'm not gonna say all because that's how you get angry tweets, but like yak fiber and angora, I love yak. The name makes sense. I can't show you, but my laptop is sitting on a box with the yak face on it. It's a Highland cow, but I pretend it's a yak because no one can tell the difference. I know the horns, but it's a yak. So in that yak Highland cow box, there's a half kilo of yak, which is the first fiber I ever bought. Go big or go home. But yeah, short staple, no much staple. Also, quiviet, really muskox, short staple fiber. Possum, short staple fiber. All cashmere, short staple. Mohair, short. I think mohair is short staple. I don't know. They cut it in the boucle. I'm not gonna throw mohair. Mohair might be the grammar exception to this rule, but most short hair fibers are softer. So they need more twist, but you can add more twist because twist removes softness. So if the shorter the staple length, the more twist you need to kind of keep them stuck together. The staple length is the general length of the fiber. So like root of hair, tip of hair, full length of hair. And yeah, I'm not gonna go into this. I'm not the leading expert. I'd say go read the Knitter's Book of Yarn by, I can't see my copy from here. Knitter's Book of Yarn. It'll tell you all about it. Highly recommend it. I'm just regurgitating what I know from other people telling me stuff. But if you're very interested in that, I can add more onto that. But with that, shorter staple equals soft. Done. And I'm hoping it gets a little bit softer with washing. So that was that. All that to say, I'm knitting the slope tank top, and I have about an inch done. You'll probably see more of this. This is probably going to be my at-work knit, just because it's only stocking knit, and I can totally do wrap and turns without thinking too hard. I might miss picking up a wrap. I did miss one. I'm a little ashamed on that one. I'm way too lazy to rip out. And honestly, it doesn't matter. Where are you? You see? It doesn't matter. I can't even find it, and I made the mistake. Is a pearl wrap. Yeah, it's already been going on long enough with this cotton thing. Yes, slope tank. Very cute. I went through like every tank top on Ravelry, and none of them made me very happy, so I decided to go with a very simple one. Next up, although like the next day, Quince released a new pattern that looks beautiful. It's this Aran weight cotton tank top with a garter stitch like peplum. It's amazing. I think it's by like actual Pam Allen. I'm not gonna bet money on that, but yeah, totally gonna knit that next time I knit a cotton thing. So like a year from now. So 2 cast-ons this week. Istex, which is Iceland Textile, which is the big head honcho on Icelandic wool, came out with a new yarn this week. I don't know why they keep on coming out with new yarns that are not Icelandic wool, but this one is a superwash generic wool, not very fancy. It comes in 50-gram put-ups. It's the same width as their original Liet Lopi, which is Lopi Light. I've knit with a bunch of Lopi Light. This is Lopi Light, this is Lopi Light, this is Lopi Light, this is heavy Lopi, this is Lopi Light, heavy Lopi. I have a lot of the stuff. Lopi Light. It's just everywhere in my house. Lopi Light. Lopi Light. It's everywhere. This is the same weight, but it's a woolen spun. So what they're saying, Istex is saying, is that you can take any Lopi Light pattern and replace it and put this Spuni, it's called, which just means spun. So it's a 3-ply. It's not soft. It's just a generic wool. It's nothing fancy. It reminds me of Cascade, if Cascade, like, didn't make awesomer, like, if Cascade had red heart standards for wool, this is what they'd come up with. They kind of just were like, oh, everybody just wants superwash, let's make a superwash yarn, and that's not what everybody wants. But they've decided that people want to be able to machine wash their wool, which I'm down with. But the problem is they came out with a bunch of pastel colors and bright colors, and nothing goes together. And they also released a pattern book called Lekskolefaut, which is daycare clothing. So it's totally marketed at children. It's for stay-at-home moms who don't want to block a hand wash, which I get totally. If I were a mom, I would buy it only superwash wool. But yes, without further ado, this is what I'm knitting out of it. Got a lot of knitting done this week. Look at this shawl. It's huge. Woo! It's on a very short needle because I don't own any long needles. It's not in my repertoire. This is the slipped rib scarf. Oh, I'm showing you the wrong side. My bad. Slipped rib scarf by Stephen West. This is his second pattern ever released. So, as some of you may remember from episode 1, I made the decision that I was going to knit every Stephen West pattern in order. This is number 2. This is the yarn for number 3. But I'm not going to cast it on until I'm done. I'd casted it on and then I ripped off the cast on. No, if I allow myself to do that, I'm never going to finish the 6 blankets. I have like at least 6 blankets to knit, so I'm going to establish a rule from the get-go that I can't cast on further. So these are the first 3 colors that I've finished already. Wait, I'm really sorry, my needles are going to clank a lot because I'm bad. This is how I'd started it, and I'd made this, I don't want it to make noise. I'd made the slip stitches, like, they kind of move, they jump around, so it's making a weird, and this is not what it looks like, but I decided I wasn't gonna rip it out. So on the next color change, I changed it to what the pattern is supposed to look like. I read line 1 and 2, and then on line 3 it said, attempt to make your knit stitches line up. So now it's this bar fabric, which I really like. It's very pretty. Both are pretty. I'm not hurting over the fact I totally screwed up the beginning. And then you see there are these little bars. I like it. My stitches don't look very even because it's a little weird. And I just did the first row on this new color coming in, which is a dark gray. And then I have 2 more colors after that. Gonna go to this purpley gray. It looks more purple in the camera. It's more of a gray too. It looks very purple. This one also looks too purple. How do I describe it? It's like an old plum. It's like an old lady. Old lady plum is how I describe it. Not knitter old lady, but like old lady. And then this is my other color. Thought because it was Stephen West I'd add. Okay, it doesn't look as fun because this doesn't look as gray. But I thought I'd add a pop of color. It's the brightest green. It's totally just washing everything out. Very bright green. This is the Spuni, new yarn from Istex. I've knit 3 skeins of it so far, so about 300 meters. I wouldn't buy more. I wouldn't like covet it in my stash and like not knit it. The fact that I'm knitting it just means that it's not special. Like I have a lot of skeins in my stash that I don't knit because they're so special and it takes me a while to get around to them. This is not that. This is just super cheap. I doubt if they'll sell it internationally. It's probably just for Iceland because their Cascade does exist here. There's a single store that sells Cascade, but it's super expensive. So this is kind of for like Rowan. No, Rowan's really nice. Kind of like Red Heart knitters who can't really afford anything more, which I'm fine with. I'm a huge yarn snob. So this is not going to become a frequent knit. It might be for gift knitting or more Stephen West knits because I know I have to knit so many that I feel Like, I don't need to use such nice yarn, which, I don't know, doesn't make sense. Sorry, my computer just shut down. It went into sleep mode. There we go. So that's my smushy shawl. My slipped rib scarf from Stephen West. I hope to have this one done this week. I'm definitely gonna finish it. It's so fast. It's so smushy. I've been calling it my smushy shawl. I finally looked up the name today before going live because I didn't know what to put in my show notes. But it's a slipped rib scarf in the Ravelry. The Ravelry. It's just the size of the blue. But I don't really need a kerchief, so I decided to make it about 6 times bigger. So far, so good. I'm really loving it. I think he knitted out of a worsted weight. This is a worsted weight. So I'm gonna make a, I don't know where the green went. Oh, there it is. I'm gonna make a garter edging out of this color with a picot bind off, probably. That's what I'm thinking. I was thinking of doing an applied edging, and then I realized I hate applied edgings. So I'm just gonna do a garter. Call it a day. I don't need to do an applied edging. I did an applied edging on a Romy Hill shawl. It took way too long. It had cables and lace. Nobody needs to put cables and lace. It was beautiful, don't get me wrong, but cables and lace, both unnecessary, at least in my book. It was not that bad, but it can't remember the name of the shawl. I will wear it at some point. It's sitting in the backseat of my car. I keep on seeing it and being sad because I spent way too many hours on it for it to just like sit there, but I'll pick it up eventually. Yeah, that's all my whips, believe it or not. I got a ton of knitting done this week. I'm very, very pleased with the amount of knitting I got done this week. Lots of sweater knitting. I'm a big sweater knitter. I'm gonna try and roll it back on the cast-ons just because I kind of get overwhelmed once I have 8 or 9 things on the needles, especially if there's some like custom order knitting, like a sweater I've been supposed to fix since January. I haven't touched it. Actually, I did. I ripped out a whole sleeve, which somebody had worn out elbows on a sweater and they want me to fix it. So I was like, yeah, no problem. I'm a knitter. So I went and bought the exact same yarn that was available 30 years ago. Still available. It's the Hayloft lopi. It's the unspun wool from Istex. And I ripped it out. I started knitting down, and then I had to start decreasing. And I only had a 16-inch circular needle on me. And I could have gotten off the couch and gone to get other circular needles. And I didn't. So one day I'm going to finish that sweater. It's been 5 months. Oh my god, it's been 5 months. I feel so bad. That's good. That's my goal for this week. Now that I've announced it to the world that I'm a shitty niece-in-law. I don't know how to say that. Boyfriend's uncle. I'm a shitty niece-in-law. That's about it. Now that I've announced that and I've put that out, I'm gonna try and finish at least one sleeve this week. It's not even light. Like, it's a worsted. I could really finish that. I could finish that quickly. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna go and sit on my couch and do that. I have one last thing to show you guys. I got one thing in the mail this week. I'm on a yarn diet. It's not working out. Somehow. I'm moving. I am moving destinations, home bases. Captain had his last day of school today. He handed in his thesis project for his bachelor's in computer science, which I'm very proud of. I bought him tulips. Anyways, he's done school, so we're gonna move. Our only real thing tying us down to Iceland was kind of his family and school. So now that he's done school, we're gonna fly over to Toronto and try and live there. So if you know anyone in Toronto who wants to hire a yarnist, this lady is looking for a job. But that's my yarn diet. That's how that's been going. So this doesn't count as a purchase because I purchased it over 3 months ago. I'm in a mini skein club, as I've told you, and what? Oh, look at these. I don't know how to make them look pretty. There are 10 of them. Cthulhu. There are 10 mini skeins here. They're beautiful. Look at this one. This one's my favorite. They're all beautiful. I love orange and blue together. They're from Nicole C. Mendez from her mini skein club. Obsessed. It was 3 months. I paid in February, and I got yarn for March, April, and May. So this is the May package. And then that's it. Now I have 30 mini skeins in my stash. I am a person who does contrasting heels and toes. What? So was the best club for me. You get 100 grams. Each one is 40 meters. I'm sorry, I'm exhausted. I'm just gonna call this a show. I recommend mini skein clubs. I know there's one by Space Cadet or something. That's lovely. That does like coordinated mini skeins. This one did. The first one was like kettle dyed. The second one was coordinated variegates, and then the third one is crazy variegates. I wish I had the option of just being like, give me all the crazy variegates every time. But I'm really enjoying the like tonals, which I would have never bought. But yeah, crazy variegates. I don't think I have anything else to say. This is my new stash enhancement. I'm gonna wind them up into tiny little golf balls, and they fill these holes like this one. And this is a mini skein from the first tonal group. And so is this one. They kind of fill the holes. I did add the 10 skeins. I know I said that, but I'm very proud. Should be an ongoing project, like 10 skeins a week. I can do that. That's weeks and weeks and weeks of work. I have so many skeins. But now I have to wind 10 mini skeins, which isn't too bad. But this is still a skein of sock yarn that has to be like hand wound. Look at me moping about my beautiful, beautiful yarn. Anyways, I'm done. I'm rambling. Oh, I had one last thing. Last week I showed you guys this yarn. Whoop, upside down. The Love Story yarn from Eren Magnusson. Should be Magnusdottir. She's not Icelandic. She's like French. I decided what I will knit. I was gonna cast it on, but then I realized I already had 2 sweaters on the needles. So this will be a wispy CARDI by Hannah Fettig in the very near future. I might cast it on this week. Wispy CARDI. Look forward to it. That's all. That's all I have to say for this week. Thank you for joining me. I hope to have an equal, if not greater, amount of knitting next week. If I don't, I'm going to pretend it was because I had 8 days to knit this week. But thank you so much. Have a great week. I hope you have a bit of sunshine, and I hope someone buys you tulips. Bye now.